Hey there. Welcome to this week's episode of Epic Entrepreneurs, brought to you by Action Coach Growth Partners. I'm your host, Bill Gilliland. And in this podcast, you'll find three things. You're going to hear real stories from real entrepreneurs that will help you along your entrepreneurial journey. You're also going to get business tips to help you scale up faster, and you're going to get actual coaching to help you get better real world results to be the best entrepreneur you can be. Hey, and if you like the podcast, remember to subscribe. And now, enjoy the show. So, Brad, you've done a lot of things in your life. You've got a lot of things going on. What is your definition of an entrepreneur?
I guess the simple way to define an entrepreneur is someone who turns an idea into a profitable organization. That's essentially what we do. I've jokingly said entrepreneurs are the biggest liars in the world because the moment you tell someone what you're going to do, it's not true. Like if I say I'm going to create this company that goes all around the world. In 1993, I wrote a vision of world abundance through business re-education. I said to everyone, I'm going to create the biggest business coaching company in the world. I'm going to put it in 100 countries, and I'm going to have this massive organization doing this. And people looked at me like, you're not going to do that, because I think I was 21 or 22 at the time. And they're like, you can't possibly do that. And so here we sit today, 83 countries, 1,100 partners and offices around the world. So yeah, I got a little ways to go, but 30 years I've been pushing at it, doing it. And that's the thing, that entrepreneurs turn an idea into a profitable organization. We bring together three things, Bill. We bring together an idea, people, and money. That's really what we do. We bring those three things together. Often too many entrepreneurs think they got to use their own money. They don't learn how to raise capital. They don't learn how to employ people, so they do all the work themselves. That's the thing. And they keep thinking they're the only ones that can have a great idea too. Yeah, I like other people's ideas a lot better.
So, you've done it a lot of ways. You've bought businesses, you've sold business, you've started businesses. What do you prefer?
I prefer buying a company. Well, let me go through different phases of my life. In the early stage of my life, I preferred buying broken companies and fixing them. So single entities. So, it might be a restaurant or a beauty salon or, all the different types of things that I bought. Second phase of my life was I would buy good companies and scale them. In other words, a company that was great in one location that I could take to hundreds of locations or thousands of locations, or it was great in one country and it should have been in many countries type thing. Now I'm in my 50s. I like investing in people in their 20s, because then by the time I hit 70, they're on fire type thing. They'll be in that 40s and 50s, hitting their best work in their life and doing amazing things. But I'm investing in young people who have a good idea, who can scale to be a global organization. I don't get involved in anything today that I don't see the ability to write a minimum of $100 billion business plan, preferably $1 billion business plan if we do it right. But $1 billion's easy, Bill. This is the craziest thing. See, Bill Billions. See, that should be your new nickname, Billions. We should make a hat that says Billions. See, there's a whole brand right there. You could create that and turn it into a business. But My thing about $1 billion is it's just X times Y. X meaning the business, and like, remember your guys that we taught them how to create $1 billion. They have a $40 million operation, and we said, okay, how many do you need to do to have $1 billion? And they do the math, and they go, well, we need 250. Like if you have a $10 million operation, you need 100 of them to do $1 billion. If you have a $40 million operation, you need. Does that make sense? It's
yeah.
How many cities, how many countries? And so literally the other day I was chatting with someone who he's got a $2 million operation. I said, well, okay, can you push that further? He said, if we really push it, we could get to 4. I said, well, what if you pushed it just a bit more? He said, probably 2.5. I said, great. How many of those, how many cities, how many countries do you need that in to make it $1 billion? And that's an entrepreneur. See, that book over your shoulder there, right? Just lean a little to the side there. Is that Billionaire in Training or is that Instant Cash Flow?
I've got instant cash flow up here. I've got billionaire and trains behind here, I think. So,
Behind there.
Yeah.
The whole point of that is learning that you start as a student, you become an employee. From an employee, you're an apprentice business owner. So you start at self-employed. Self-employed is where you do it all yourself. Then you employ people, you become a manager. Then you build a business that works by itself with management running it. That's where it's now an asset. And then you go into investing. And then an entrepreneur is where you get other people to invest their money, their time, their energy into something you create. Like in business, that would be a franchise, or in the stock market, you'd build a company and have them trade, like buy your shares, or you would build a REIT, a real estate investment trust, where people put their money in, or a venture capital fund. Or in the real estate business, you'd develop a high rise and sell the apartments, or develop a piece of land and sell off each one. That's sort of an entrepreneur is one who gets others to invest in them. I think we confuse business owner with entrepreneur too often. A business owner owns and runs a business. In fact, most people aren't even business owners. They're business, what would the word be, Bill?
Employee.
Business employees, yeah.
They're employees of their own business.
Yeah. So I'm not a business owner. I'm a business employee, is what a lot of people should say. Or a business manager. And eventually you get to business owner, where it works without you.
Yeah. So I just got a question here about those 20-somethings that you're investing in. What do you look for?
Hard work, loves learning. I think that's sort of the two good values as well. Like if I have to write a contract to be your partner, I don't want to be your partner. You know, if I can invest money in you and put some, 1 hour a month of coaching into you, and you learn and you read, and like you'll watch all my videos and read all my books yourself. Like a young partner that I invested in our catering business, he would get on every time I was doing something on social media. He'd be on there watching and listening. Every book, everything I recommend, he would get it and read it, type thing. Like you can't just get my money. You've got to get my wisdom too. So you combine those two things, and we get power. I don't like putting money into anything that I can't add value to.
It seems like that's a good mantra for any entrepreneurs out there who are looking for money, is you want more than the money. You want the knowledge, you want the wisdom, you want the years of experience of what you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
As an investor. I mean, that's just good advice. So that's both ways. What you're looking for and what they're looking for should match.
Yeah, and that's sort of what we look for to invest in them. Bill, any business is a good idea. And this is where, unfortunately, a lot of young people think it's the idea that makes it work, and it's not. They think it's the product that makes it work, and it's not. Arguably Apple built better computers and had better operating system than Microsoft, but it wasn't the computer or the operating system. It was the strategy behind the business that made it successful. And now Apple came back, and Steve Jobs got a better strategy than Microsoft. He said, we're going to be in the music business. He doesn't make any music. He just makes 30 or 40% off of every piece of music. We're going to be in the app business. I don't make any apps. I'm just going to make 30 or 40% off of every single app and every single in-app purchase ever done. I don't make movies. Like, that's where Jobs was a genius, I define leverage as do the work once, get paid forever. And that's the key to success in business and wealth. Do the work one time, get paid long-term or forever. Well, Steve Jobs is smarter than me, or was, prior to his passing, may he rest in peace. He was like, do the work never and get paid forever. Like, he never made a song, never makes a movie, he never makes anything and just keeps getting paid. And people are like, yeah, but he was a genius. He invented iTunes. No, he didn't. Napster was, all iTunes is a legalized version of Napster. Well, he invented the iPod. No, he didn't. MP3 player was invented by Sony. He invented the smartphone. No, he didn't. He invented the iPad. No, he didn't. I mean, we all had an IBM, what do they, ThinkPad. It's crazy how genius they are, though, at taking something that's already there and twisting it with marketing and with a better strategy and a better thing. But like along came, Spotify was beating up iTunes, beating him up bad. Steve Jobs goes and buys Beats headphones so that he can get a contract to rent music, the same as Spotify did. Just phenomenally intelligent decision-making from an entrepreneurial thinking out there.
Yeah, along the way. Let me switch gears here a little bit. And, EPIC is an acronym. So I want to get your thoughts on the acronym. So the E is education. You're obviously big on education and that. What are your quick thoughts on education and the importance of that to whatever, growing a business, entrepreneurship along the way?
One of my earliest and greatest mentors, Jim Rohn, at the end of his first seminar I ever went to, he gave me three things, and they really defined my theory on education. He said, never wish your life were easier, wish you were better. And too many people wish that marketing was easier. No, just get better at marketing. Or, business. See, business is never going to get easier. You've got to get better at business. Life's never going to get easier. You've got to get better at life. Second thing he said is work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So keep studying, keep learning, mentors, groups, seminars, events, podcasts, you name it. And the third thing he said, very simply, when I ran down to him at the end of the event and said, please sign my notes, I said, he said to me, son, it's very simple. If you want to be successful, read a book a week for the rest of your life. You can't out-earn your learning. It's no more complex than that, Bill.
I love it. Can't out-earn your learning. Great. Planning. P is planning. What are your thoughts on planning?
You can overplan, but you can't overplan by much. But you can underplan.
I love that. Can't overplan by much. Yeah.
The most important plan, though, Bill, is the one that least the people do the least. They do this long-term planning, but no one does daily planning. You know that I've been a proponent of every single day, at the end of the day, write a plan for what you got to do tomorrow. 5:30 every day. Yep. The frog sheet.
Yep.
What's the frog? And the most important thing got to be done first. So whatever's the most important must be done first. The daily plan is the first thing you got to get great at. Then you got to get great at the weekly plan, then get great at the 90-day plan, then get great at annual, then get great at 3 to 5 year. Simple as that.
I love it. The I is inspiration. So where do you find inspiration?
I'd like to flip it on its head for a second there, Bill, and say, you shouldn't look for inspiration. You should be the inspiration. Who are you trying to inspire? Who are you wanting to inspire? And if you inspire others, you have to inspire yourself. You can't inspire others if you're not motivating yourself. You got to come for that internal. But here's the thing. People try and get inspired on subjects that they don't care about. If you don't give a shit about it, don't worry about it type thing. If remember Einstein's quote of, everyone's a genius at something, but if you judge a fish on how well it climbs a tree, you're wasting your time type thing. Yeah. And a lot of us think that, well, in school, I didn't do good at math. Who gives a shit if you were good at math in school, right? Maybe you're meant to be a musician type thing. Maybe you're meant to be an actor or something. It's not... Yeah, I think people get too worried about that, but be an inspiration to someone or a group. That's probably the biggest and most important thing around that. And sorry for the Australian accent there on a couple of those words.
That's all right. No, that's good. That's great. That's a very good take on it, I think. And the C stands for commitment, which obviously takes in a lot of things. What, give me your thoughts on committing and lack of committing and all of that. Yeah.
A great Goethe couplet that started with, until one is committed, there is doubt. There's a magic, and I don't know how the universe works in this way, Bill. There's probably some scientific explanation for it. All I know is that when I truly commit to something, the world shifts in my favor. Now, what kills commitment in most cases is one stupid 3-letter word, and it's the word called how. So you go, on one of my podcasts, I interviewed Professor Alan Pease, and he said, how is the killer of most goals? See, someone says, well, I want to be a millionaire. And your mom or your friend says to you, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? And your brain doesn't know how. If you knew how, you would have already done it. The idea of setting the goal, and this is my formula of dream, goal, learn, plan, act. Once you have a dream, you got to turn it into a goal. Then once you got a goal, you got to do the learning. You don't set a goal to ask the question, how? You set a goal to ask the question, what do I need to learn to achieve that? If I set the goal of doubling my business, Bill, then my goal is then, okay, I got to go and learn. I got to get Coach Bill Gilliland teaching me, or any action coach, teach me how to double my business. Coach Bill has doubled hundreds of companies. He knows how to double businesses. I got to go and learn. You set the goal to learn. If I set a goal to run a marathon, I don't expect to run it that day. I expect to go on the internet and look up training programs and training schedules and maybe join a running club and work out diets and plan it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to do the study before the planning. And unfortunately, too many people think you can just achieve without doing the learning. But dream, goal, learn, then write the plan, and then you do it. So it's hard to commit, though, Bill, with a lack of knowledge. When we ask the question, how are you going to achieve that? People are like, I'm committed to my goal. Great. How are you going to do it? And they go, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Then you can't be committed until you've done the study. You got to go on a few dates with someone and go on a couple of trips with them before you commit to marrying them. Learn a little bit about it.
I love that you just took commit and broke it down to the dreams, goals, learns, plans, acts. I love that. I think that I have never thought about it that way.
A lot of people struggle with committing, and they won't even write their goals down, Bill, because they're scared. Like, if I write it down, it's a commitment. No, if you write your goal down, it's a commitment to go and learn about it. All you're doing when you write a goal is committing yourself to study, committing yourself to reading, committing yourself to learning. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. They just won't do the learning. The learning is the hardest work. If I set a new goal, I have to grow into that goal. And that's what my commitment is. My commitment is to growth. I remember at 16 setting a goal when I met Jim Rohn for the first time. I set a goal of retiring at 25. And I was told that it can't possibly happen. And technically, my friend's dad who told me that was correct. 16-year-old version of me could not achieve that. But what he didn't think about and what he didn't understand is I was willing to study, willing to learn, willing to grow, willing to do all those things so that I could become the person that would do that. That goes back to my other formula, be times do equals have. Decide what you want to have, work out what you need to do, and then become the person that will do that at the level that'll get you those goals. Your behaviors, your beliefs, these are the B words in our lives. You're a human being, not a human doing. Work on who you are. That's why the word above epic there is be. It's beliefs, behaviors. That's the thing.
Yeah, I love that. Shift gears once more. You're coming out to Asheville in August. And I believe we've settled on talking about management versus leadership. And give us a little preview of your thoughts on that, and why people should come out, and I mean, there's
firstly,
going to be a massive learning.
People should come out just because I'm coming to hang out in Asheville. That's the reality. I have a beautiful town, great food. My kids go to summer camp just up the way.
Yeah.
But the thing about management and leadership, somewhere in the late 90s, leadership became the thing and management became a dirty word. And then in the 2000s, we saw lots of books on execution, because if you get rid of management, you fail at execution type thing. Management is the day-to-day, week-to-week, and it's a system. As you teach and as I teach, management is a systematic process of meetings and paperwork that keep people doing two things, okay? Management has two primary objectives. Number one is productivity. Number two is capability, okay? So can they do the job, and can they do it productively? And unfortunately, part of management is mentoring, coaching, teaching, educating people. And when you bring on a new team member, a lot of the times they've got to learn how to do it, or how to do it your way, or how to do it the way your company does it type thing. So you've got to invest that time building productive, capable human beings type thing. Leadership, on the other hand, is a little bit more longer term. Leadership is more month to month, year to year type thing, quarter to quarter. And leadership is really about passion and focus. So if you break it down and say, okay, do I need productive, capable people? Yes. So I got to get good at management. Do I need passionate, focused people? Yes. So I got to get good at leadership. And if you're good at both, you build an amazing organization. If you're only good at management, you've got a lot of people doing great work, but with no passion, no heart, no massive goals, nowhere to go. If you're only good at leadership, you've got passionate, focused people, but they're incompetent and things get messed up all the time. So you're always putting out fires. So it's a balance of the two things that we're looking to help people understand how to do that every single day. And that's again why at Action Coach, Bill, we have a 12-week training program for managers, because it's not something you learn in a day. It's a practice, it's a habit, it's a system that you install in a company type thing. Leadership, our 12-week leadership training is the same. It's a systemic methodology of focus and passion. How do you get that happening day to day? Not just by being charismatic, or not just by, it's people see leadership as, well, they're a good speaker and stuff. No. There are systemic methodologies to achieve both things. Like, I'll give you one simple leadership one. If you're not congratulating at least 2 people a day in your organization, then leadership just isn't happening in your organization. If they hear from you more often when they do something wrong than when they do something right, then leadership just isn't happening in your organization. Leadership has to boil down to practicalities, things you can do, not just a way of being. And that's where the Formula B do have. If you want to have leadership in an organization, you got to be a great leader and do the acts of leadership. You can't just be a great leader. You still got to do leadership acts. And I think that's an important aspect of it.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. I think that's brilliant. I can't wait to hear the rest of that. A couple of quick questions. You've got some great advice early on and started down a path of personal development. But what is something that you wish someone had told you then that they didn't?
Go faster. Fail fast, fail forward, fail more often. And the other thing was, Bill, raise capital earlier. I really wished I'd learned to raise capital earlier in my career instead of bootstrapping it. I wore it as a badge of honor that I worked 16-hour days, 6 and 7 days a week. I would brag that I slept in my office type thing. And that was just, you hear all these people say stupid things like hustle and grind, and like, look, hustle and grind's the new stupid. If only I knew back then, Bill, that me working that much was covering up the problems with my business model, covering up the problems with the way I did things. If I'd learned to raise capital, I could have employed great people to do that stuff. I had a great business idea. I just didn't have the capital to put the people to work and the marketing to work to scale it fast. I think that's probably a big aspect of what I wished I'd done earlier.
I love that. So how can people connect with Brad Sugars and the Brad Sugars brand out there?
Every single social platform, you'll find me on there, my YouTube channel, bradsugars.com, you name it, do it that way. But jump on Amazon, start with the books, I think, or jump on actioncoach.com and download all the free ebooks I have up there. Wherever it is that you get started, it's just start. And this is the biggest thing. Keep learning, keep coming back, keep reading, jump on my podcast, the Big Success Podcast. But ultimately, Bill, it really just comes down to continuous learning to grow into the person that will achieve your dreams and goals. When you become that person, everything else falls into place. You want to be an entrepreneur? Great. Study all the greatest entrepreneurs, learn from them, learn with them, and that's how you get there.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks for being on. It's been a great having you. Really appreciate your time. And until next time, all the best.